Hey, Ashley.
Hi, Stacy. How are you?
I'm good. What'd you learn today?
What did I learn today? Well, as you know, I'm a lifelong learner. And I learned today a few good things. One, did you know that platypuses sweat milk?
No.
You didn't know that? I have never milked a platypus, but I'm young. There's still time. Uh, let's see, what else did I learn today? I've been doing these live streams on my social media pages where I've been trying to look up fun facts. And uh, I really I've always really liked interesting facts. So apparently, if you get a kidney transplant, the doctors leave in your old kidneys.
That's kind of nuts.
I know, right? Like you'd think that they would take out your old kidneys, but here's my theory that they leave in your old kidneys just in case something happens with the new kidneys, but also it allows the new kidneys to influence the old kidneys. Like your old bad kidneys are kind of like they're just smoking, they're like the bad kids, they're getting tattoos, they're leaning on street lamps. And then the new kidneys come in and they got their little briefcase and they've been working on their Excel apprenticeship. And they come in and they're just like, "Hey guys, you don't have to live this life. You can come and be like us." And the bad kidneys are like, "No, we're gonna keep smoking and vaping at the same time." And I think that over time, as long as you leave the new kidneys in, it starts to influence the old kidneys.
Hmm.
Any
What
thought?
happens if it goes the other way? Because we all know we've had a little peer pressure from time to time.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So I did actually, I had a nurse with a PhD that teaches RNs. She told me that if your body rejects that second set of kidneys, they won't give you any more kidneys. So then all of your kidneys are bad news. And that's a real problem. And then I said, what if you are a billionaire? Can you get more kidneys? And turns out, yes. So there's always an answer.
Hmm. Yeah, the black market kidney doesn't come cheap though.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I've not looked into it. I'll see if you can order it on Amazon though.
Yeah, if you have Prime, probably free shipping in the ice bag.
Free shipping. You would hope it would be in an ice bag, right?
Yeah, you gotta preserve it.
You gotta preserve it.
I have a question about the milking of the platypus though.
Yeah, tiny hands.
Uh, is it like us where they just kind of sweat from the pits, or we like milk pits?
Oh, do platypuses have milk pits? I think it's like all over their body, like a horse.
Interesting. And has any sort of entrepreneur out there decided to market platypus milk?
It's got to be hard to do because where would you yeah, okay, just Googling it right now and I'm super sorry. So they don't have teats. The milk just oozes from the surface of their skin. So they're like a giant gross cow.
Is
They're
that
like,
how they feed their pups through just milk sweat?
God.
I have so many questions. Maybe for another time.
Oh, do they? We don't know. We don't know. If you have a platypus, write in. You might live in one of the states that allows you to have exotic pets. I think Oklahoma lets you have a giraffe. Oh, that's a giraffes. If you want to have a giraffe in your house, it's 40 to 50 grand. But if you want an older male giraffe, it's only 10,000.
You've got to have some house modifications to accommodate a giraffe, I think.
You do. I live on base, so I contacted base housing and asked for my ceilings to be adjusted so that I could have Jeffrey. But so far, no word back. No word back. All right. Shall we go into the episode here? Let's do it.
This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Welcome back, Alphas. We hope you had a restful and joyful holiday break. How'd you do? Did you find any mistletoe? How was it? Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Write it down. Write it in your fan fiction about Stacy and I. But we're glad you're back because we have a great show for you today. We'll be rolling out some new things here in season 5. The best of which is our new co-host, Stacy Pearsall. Yay! Welcome back, Stacy. Heck yeah. How you doing?
Swell. How you
You're
doing?
Pretty good. It's a very dismal day in Texas, which is rare. So I'm just going to soak it up. I went outside. I did a strip dance outside to celebrate the rain, and the darkness, the lack of sun, and so it
That
just
sounds like the flu waiting to happen.
you think I think it sounds more like a fine, which is what
Yeah.
$500 fine. That's what happens.
And a national registry as well.
In international registry, yeah, but it won't be the first time that I'm on there. So it's good to have another tick, like my husband's got a couple of those oak leaf clusters on his ribbon rack. And I'm just like, all right, another felony. Take that. Meritorious service medals. You want another little oak leaf cluster? Well, look at my rap sheet, buddy. So I'm excited because first of all, Stacy's here. And also our guest today, who is decorated Marine Corps veteran, Emmy award-winning TV personality, inspirational speaker, author, entrepreneur, and passionate health and wellness advocate, Montel Williams. Montel. I have interviewed Montel before, and I've also met him on a plane and asked him some really inappropriate personal questions. But before we get into that, we're going to introduce you to a new segment. We're going to try and do a little bit of myth busting about the American Legion using some of the comments that we get from social media. Now, here's what I want. Now, you guys are just occurring to me now. This doesn't mean go on the American Legion social media pages so that you can end up on the podcast, because we're going to be able to weed through it. We do these background checks. So it's very expensive. We spend about $90 million an episode. So just chill out. All right. So we got this comment on Instagram, and it's from Joe Mama. All right, Joe Mama, which it's interesting, isn't it? He writes, maybe you should pass a rule that there's no smoking in Legion buildings and that it's not a drunk tank. Then maybe more of us younger veterans will want to hang out and bring our families. Stacy, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's a valid concern. Not every American Legion is a non-smoking facility, though I think a lot of states are passing a lot of policies now that you're kind of forced into doing that. But I will say, if we want to use my Legion post 1C6, if you want to use my Legion post 1C6,
got this, Stacy. You got it.
You're
drunk right now.
I'm drunk. I've had way too many cocktails at the bar. Post 166, and that's a tongue twister. In Goose Creek. Anyway, my friends in Goose Creek, for a long time smoked from the moment I actually became a member there. But over time, they did away with smoking and have evolved, and so many legions are actually following suit. I guess one of the things or lessons that I would impart to Joe Mama, not Jane's mama or Jack's mama, but Joe's mama, is that you can go shopping. You can shop for a legion that's the right fit for you. And you're just because there's one in your neighborhood doesn't mean you can't drive 5 miles east, northwest, wherever, and see if there's another post that's more to your liking.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've never been a smoker. I hear that it's addictive. So if I don't know if that's true or not, but that could be part of it. But when I smell smoke, it really is off-putting, because then you're like, oh, I'm not going to bring anybody else here. And then your clothes are soaked in it. At least if people are vaping, then you smell like one of those car deodorizers, the Christmas tree things. So I would rather have that. But the Legion is doing some really cool things, and they are working hard. Change is hard, Joe Mama. You know this. We've talked about this before. Change is hard. Working with Regiment Gaming, they're trying to bring the gamers in, and that is working. I know there's awesome things happening at the post in Alaska. People are making headway into trying to make things more comfortable. But yeah, shop around, see if you can find one that works for you. Try to implement some programs, but they are working on it. They agree with you and are working on it. I can't say that I went into an American Legion and the beer was like $1.10, and they could make more money on that. They could.
I will say this too, listen, I know you said you haven't smoked before. I used to smoke, and I think that's sort of standard military issues. Here's your uniform and a pack of cigarettes. I remember when I was downrange, the chaplain would come around and be like, hey, for all you smokers, don't try and quit now. Now's not the time. Smoke up while you got it. Definitely not probably what the VA wants to be putting out in the message. But at any rate, I know it's hard. Giving up smoking is hard. And if you're going through any sort of like emotional or mental health stuff, stress is the number one trigger to have you pick up a pack of cigarettes and start puffing away too. So, hey, for all my friends out there smoking in legions, I get it, but not everybody's smoking. And we want to be we want you to be around for a while and be healthy. So consider maybe a smoking cessation class, or, get with your VSO and see what kind of programs are out there to help you get on the cessation train.
Yeah. There you go. And if you are a Legion post that doesn't allow smoking and it doesn't encourage, things that aren't family friendly, or you're bringing in family friendly events, write in so that we can highlight you so that Joe Mama can check you out. You know what I mean? It is really funny that Joe Mama that's his username, but also he's just like, I want to bring my family.
Could be looking at this person as being a male, but that could be Joe's mama. So we never know. It could be out there trying to bring her kids too.
That is her. If that's true, and that is her username, I would encourage her to get her own identity beyond being Joe's mama. That would be.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, Alphas. We'll be back for Chat 30 with Montel Williams right after the break.
The American Legion is raising awareness about PTSD and veteran suicide by offering hope, camaraderie, and support.
Be the one to help end veteran suicide.
Be the one to save one veteran.
Be the one to ask a veteran in your life how they're doing.
Be the one to reach out when a veteran is struggling.
Go to betheone.org and help the American Legion end veteran suicide.
Will you be the one?
All right, Alphas, welcome back. I am super excited today. I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Stacy. How are you, Stacy?
I'm swell. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. And we have an amazing guest. Everybody, please welcome Montel Williams. Montel, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. So I know you from such a wide range of things. I don't know if everybody knows that you are a Marine Corps veteran. You were the
Marine Corps and Navy veteran.
Navy veteran. Yeah. Awesome. And you're the first African-American Marine selected to go to the Naval Academy prep school, and then graduate from the Naval Academy. That's awesome.
Graduated from the Naval Academy and be commissioned a naval officer. That's where that first comes in. I'm not the first to go to the Naval Academy prep school. I'm the first Marine to go to the prep school, graduate from the Academy, and go into the Navy, not the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay. Super cool. Super great. And obviously went on to be the Emmy-winning TV personality and inspirational speaker. But I sort of also know you as a passionate health and wellness advocate. Do you feel like that suits you, that title?
I've written several books on it. Yes, absolutely. I work tirelessly in the medical field to bring forward initiatives that I think will work and help our veterans and help the public at large.
Oh, that's fantastic, which ties into a lot of the American Legion initiatives, even when it comes down to like mental health. I'm a stand-up comedian. I work with nonprofits like Hilarious, where we teach veterans and other people how to reframe mental health problems that they may have, reframe it through humor. The American Legion has the Be the One program and things like that. So I think it's awesome that you are interested in continuing to help veterans.
We're working together, American Legion and an organization I'm working with is collaborating together right now on an initiative called RTM, which is Reconsolidation of Traumatic Memories, which has now been acknowledged as one of the most efficacious treatment protocols for PTSD in the world. 90% efficacious. I think that the American Legion has provided some funding towards that, and we're working diligently and as hard as we can to get this into the hands of our soldiers here. Right now, it's deployed in the Ukraine, helping foreign military plus foreign civilians, because it works for not only combat PTSD, but all forms of PTSD. But hopefully within the next couple of months, we intend to have this, available. It's available right now for every veteran that's out there. All they have to do is go up on rnrproject.org, and they can find out a little bit more about it. But we want to get this acknowledged by the VA, by the DOD, by our government, to make sure we understand that we're about to deploy this in Israel because it is so efficacious. And it's almost a crime that it's not being deployed here in the United States for our soldiers and sailors.
Okay. Stacy, what do you think?
Hey, thank you for your service from one veteran to another. Means a lot. And of course, I've read some of your books, and then I've been following you for a long time. And one of the things that I've heard you say is, I don't want to get busy dying. I want to get busy living. And that really, really resonated to me specifically. You know, during my post-combat trauma recovery, a lot of the doctors were, you know, really fixated on telling me all the things I couldn't do anymore. And that is what I fixated on, because that's what they were fixated on. And the fact that I'd never be once who I was before. And so between that grim diagnosis and my untreated post-traumatic stress, I did like a mental nosedive. And I didn't realize how each connected, that mind and that body. And I know you talk about that. And when your mental state gets so depressed, and that can also stall your physical recovery. And for me, that made me like circle the proverbial drain. So my question to you is, like, as an evangelist for health and wellness, what tips would you give alphas like me, and someone like me, say a decade ago, where I was really down in the dumps, what that may set them on a path to a more positive lifestyle approach?
It's not a one-step-fits-all, but it is in a way a one-step-fits-all, because the treatment for your PTSD is available right now, has been available for the last 12 years. Unfortunately, we have entrenched bureaucrats who are focused on only the major one thing, and that's getting $1 for our VA, adding more money. They will drug you guys to death. They will make those drugs stretch out over 12 to 13, 14 years. And the truth of the matter is, we know now for a fact that there is a treatment protocol that 9 out of every 10 veterans who have gone through it have remitted 100% of their PTSD symptoms in less than 5 to 10 hours. No medication, doesn't come back. It's been proven over and over again. There's a double-blind study being done right now at Walter Reed. There's a double-blind study that was just completed at King's College in London. It's been deployed by the state of New York for 9/11 responders. It's been deployed by the state of New Mexico for first responders. It's been deployed in California for firefighters. We know that this protocol works. It works in all forms of PTSD. And the fact that the VA denies it today and denies you access to it, I would say demand, if I were you or anybody else who's suffering right now. And we have to understand, the military has made it almost impossible for most veterans to want to seek the help, because they tie your disability to the fact that they can give you a block and say, still PTSD. And so if you ever step up and say, well, I think I'm cured of PTSD, bingo, bango, the VA will suck your money back from you. So there's a lot of veterans out there who would rather suffer so they can get $1 rather than ease the pain that they are inflicting on themselves or their families. So we've got to get out of that mindset. So if you ask me what I would suggest you do, I'd suggest you rally the troops and tell the troops to demand that the VA give you access to the R&R protocol and still compensate you for the PTSD that you suffered from. We've got this idea that, let me see here. If I left an arm in the battlefield, I left a leg in the battlefield, I'll pay you for the rest of your life. I left my dignity, my integrity, my ambition, my hopes on the battlefield. Now that I got them back, you still have to pay me for the rest of my life. Pay me some sort of compensation. Then we'd have more of our veterans reaching out to be cured, but instead they'd rather suffer so they can get the check at the end of the month. And I know I'm being adamant about this, and I'm being a little bit, a little too forceful, but I'm going to tell you that PTSD has been turned into a cottage industry in this country. There are colleges, universities, organizations that are collecting billions of dollars for the pain you suffer, when they know that if in fact they were to incorporate a protocol like this, which at the most would cost, $3,200, $3,300 versus the $50,000 to $150,000 that they spend per head, but that's $50,000 to $100,000 that they also make. So we've got to get out of the business of making money off the suffering of those who have done so much for us, and help those who have done so much for us understand that we welcome you home. We understand what we put you through. You deserve compensation for what you did to protect the rest of us, but we want you well. We want you a contributing member of our society. We want you to be able to contribute to your family. We want you to contribute to the life that you live and have a really good life. And it can be done if we were to incorporate programs like RTM. But unfortunately, this has been a crazy, this protocol approached me 13 years ago, asked for my help. And back then I said, I'd love to help you, but I'm sorry, without all the requisite clinical data, there's nothing that you're going to do. Because unfortunately, the way our society is set up when it comes to medical care, we have to have data, irrefutable data, for them to fund. So what they did was they went away, got that irrefutable data, got the governing body for psychological protocols worldwide called ISTSS that has now substantiated the fact that this is the most efficacious cure for PTSD in existence today.
So you don't come across to me as somebody that believes things easily. Like I feel like you need, you don't just believe everything you hear. I don't get that vibe from you. So what really pushed you over the edge with this program?
Well, first off, let's back up. I'm a graduate of the Naval Academy, got a degree in engineering, got a minor in international security affairs. I believe in study. I believe in figuring things out. I was diagnosed with MS back in 2000. My first thing I did was literally take myself to the library, because back then there wasn't as a robust an internet as there is today. But I took myself to the library and I studied my disease. Why? Because I don't believe that just by virtue of the fact that somebody gave another person a degree in something called medicine, that they are God. And we somehow seem to give them that moniker. You're God just because you graduated from med school. No, you're not. You're a human being. I've never seen a doctor with a crystal ball. So how dare they try to prognosticate about what they think may happen to someone? I'd rather find out the information myself, study, learn, figure out the things that I can do, and implement them if they have some success. So when I heard about this protocol, after having been involved in brain science for at least 2 years at that point in time, and doing a lot of study about brain science, I really understood. I got it, get it. The doctor who created it came in, sat down with me for about an hour and a half. I went through it. I was like, yes, I believe you. However, homie, doesn't give a damn. Nobody gives a damn what Montel Williams believes. Okay, they are going to come back to you and say, well, we need to have some research. We need to have some sort of validation. So they went away and they got the validation from all of those who we claim we believe in. And so once that validation is done, I look at a double-blind study. I can read those notes the same way a doctor can. I can read the information that comes out of studies. I understand what they mean. And so I took the time to read the studies, understood what they were talking about, and understood that, there is a cure here. There is hope here.
You once said that we live in a country that looks at illness as an opportunity to make more money. And I have a trash bag full of pharmaceuticals to back up that claim, especially whether it was from my physical recovery or my mental health. For some veterans, pharmaceutical interventions work, but for others, they're less effective. So you're here to tell us about RTM protocol, and it's a drug-free therapy, right? What can you tell me about the program? And
no medication whatsoever. It's a psycho-neurological protocol that is administered by clinicians who are psychiatrists, psychologists. They have the ability to take a person through 5 to 10 hours worth of treatment that literally what a lot of people do not understand is that the PTS, post-traumatic stress, is a physical manifestation as well as a psychological manifestation. Most of us think that it's just psychological. It's not. It's physical also. Mm-hmm. There are things that happen to us in our life that actually we are wired into the amygdala of our brain. Mm-hmm. And this was part of, thousands of years of evolution involving something called fight and fright. When we were cave people living in those little caves, you stepped outside of your cave and a saber-toothed tiger jumped down in front of you, bit the first guy, chewed him up. The second guy ran back in the cave, put a thing up to block that tiger from coming in. At that moment, that person, that individual, that human was traumatized so much that it hardwired in his brain so that he saw a saber-toothed tiger 200 yards away, he knew, run, okay? It's the same thing that happens when you stick your hand on a hot stove. As a child, you burn yourself, it hardwires in your brain. Don't do that again, stupid, okay? I was just trying to tell you, don't do it. I'm letting you know that that's going to burn you. That's what happens when we are traumatized by a major event, like in warfare or, childhood abuse, sexual abuse, rape, traumas like that. What RTM does is it reconsolidates those traumatic memories. That's exactly what the term is, RTM, Reconsolidation of Traumatic Memories. And I'm doing this in layman's terms, but from a clinical perspective, what it does is it puts the person in a position to basically rewire that part of the brain to make that memory not as traumatic, but just a memory. And when it does so, it no longer brings on all of those, nervous anxiety, can't sleep, all those things, hypervigilance, all those things fall away once that hardwiring is reversed. And so that's what it does. And it's taken 12, 13 years really to prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt. But unfortunately, there are so many who are making so much money off of the fact that instead of doing something that will only take 10 hours, we do something that'll take 5 years and give you drugs to go along with it. So that every single month you have to pay a bill. And, am I that much of a believer of people who have nefarious intent? Yes, I am, because I've seen it. And we know what people do, and we know how we are as humans. The majority of the medications that we have out there on shelves are not meant to be taken for a lifetime. Take a look at what the Sackler family did when it comes to opioids. They tried to convince people that opioids was something that should be used for long periods of time. It's not. But why did they do that? Because they were collecting money. Why did they? And then they collected so much money that, our government stepped in and said, well, I tell you what, we'll let you keep more than half of it. You just give back a little bit of it. Stop. These people who all did this should go to jail, but they don't, because we are so greedy that we've got to be able to solve that financial end of this thing rather than, tell people the truth.
Okay, so wouldn't it, devil's advocate, wouldn't it benefit the VA to implement this? So wouldn't it benefit them to implement it so that they can not make these payouts year after year?
Remember, payouts come with pay-ins. Come on now. You don't think they're making a lot of money off of these drugs that they are selling? The drug manufacturers aren't making a lot of money off the drugs that they're selling. There's a lot of money coming in. When you implement RTM, you just took probably, I don't know, an average of about $65,000 per head off the table. Stop. They don't want to give up that money. And wouldn't you? Yes, I would believe in my heart of hearts that the intent should be to cure. The intent should be to help. But their intent is to fight and try to force a protocol. Do you know what the military's standard of care is for PTSD? It's something that's called prolonged exposure therapy.
Yes,
prolonged
and I've
exposure
been through
therapy.
that, Montel.
Correct. And 90% of the people who go through it, no, I'm sorry, that's not true. It's about 70% of the people who go through it won't finish the program. Why? Because it's so tough and so difficult. People, walk away from it on the third time because it's so extra traumatizing.
Yes.
But why wouldn't they get rid of it? They don't, because they just keep shoving this down your throat. So I would say that it's time for a revolt by most veterans in this country to say, either cure me, help me, or leave me alone. Get out of the way and let me do this on my own.
Oh my gosh, Montel, you have no idea. I went through the cognitive behavioral therapy, and I nearly committed suicide from it.
I know you did. And so did 70%. Do you recognize that only 35% of the people who start that program finish it? 35. And I'm talking about a protocol that 9 out of every 10 people who walk through the door, and it even works better for sexual trauma, childhood sexual trauma. we think it's around 92 to 93%. That means that 9.5 people that walk through the door walk out cured, remitting all symptoms, and
So,
don't complain about it, looking for an opportunity to do it again.
yeah. My litmus test is, would you trust this with yourself or a loved one? And
No ifs, ands, or buts. I've already recommended to about 20 different veterans that have already been through it. All of them have come back and thanked me for saving their lives, along with about another 800 people who've also been through the protocol in various ways around the country, from flag rank officers to sergeant majors to PFCs to captains, you name it.
from like a 30,000 foot perspective for me, like when I was researching it and not knowing a thing about it, honestly, so much of it, what I initially thought was that it was cognitive behavioral therapy. And I got a little panicked and I was like, I don't know if I could talk about this, but tell me how this particular protocol is different. Like what
I'm not a clinician. So, please forgive me. I'm going to give it to you in layman's terms. But just think about this for a second. In layman's terms, what a clinician will do is establish a relationship with the patient of trust. Once that relationship is established and within the first hour, they allow you to re-look at your trauma, but look at it through a different lens. You look at it basically forward, backwards, as if you're looking at it on a movie screen. And then they put you in a position to be the projectionist in a movie theater, projecting your trauma up onto a screen. You're not reliving it, you're just projecting it up there for other people to look at. And then when you notice that the people that are sitting in that audience that you've fictitiously created in your brain aren't responding the same way you respond to that trauma, it starts to make you understand that maybe this is not as bad as I thought it was. And then you look at it backwards, forward, in black and white, in color, backwards, forward, black and white, in color, enough that it starts to rewrite that or reconnect those cells in the amygdala to make them feel like that's not as traumatic as I really thought it was. Now, I've just given you that in very, very simple terms. A clinician will tell you the extended version of that. But the truth of the matter is, people that I know that have gone through this, from flag rank officers to senior enlisted officer or personnel to junior enlisted personnel, all come back and say that was the most incredible experience I've had in my life.
Wow.
Okay, so we've been talking about how they're trying to pump drugs into us, and there's this greedy mentality, and I totally agree with you. So it makes me comfortable enough to ask this: with the Research and Recognition Project, where's the money coming from?
Right now, it's been coming out of the pockets of a very few people. There is no money. As a matter of fact, we're running around trying to knock the money that funded the clinicians in the Ukraine was taken out of this nonprofit's pocket. So they are right now operating on fumes. I think $100,000 came from the American Legion. There's been some dribbles and drabbles of funding that's come along the way in very, very small tranches. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, is to try to help them get this thing funded to the point that this could be efficacious enough to take it out.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's an important thing. Find where the money's coming from. Is it coming from people with, good intentions, or are they just trying to get you more addicted to things? And it looks like they are a 501c charitable organization. You can go to the website, rnrproject.org, and you can donate.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that we're really, I mean, I'm literally like, I'm the jerk on the advisory board. I'm the guy who keeps telling them, this cannot be done for free. Stop it. We've got to start charging something, but I tell you, the charges that we're going to charge is going to be insignificant compared to what's been charged before. I think right now, a clinician to be trained in this protocol will probably have to pay somewhere around $3,500 for a CME. And CMEs, continuing medical education, are going on all over America for various things, from giving people Botox to, giving people this new ridiculous weight loss drug. So there are CMEs that clinicians can sign up for. They will pay for that. Then they have to be certified by the R&R project over the course of a 2-year period of time. They have to be able to treat enough patients that they can show the same efficacy Once they do so, then there may be some remuneration down the road, but we haven't even figured that out yet. Right now, the model for this to be able to expand and go around the world. And let's remember, PTSD does not just affect combat personnel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have probably a nation right now with you know, and about 20%, it depends on whose numbers you read, about 20% of our population is suffering some form of PTSD as we speak. Everybody from people who spent 3 days in the hospital for COVID, to people who treated COVID, to people who were the first responders who went out and had to retrieve dead bodies from houses, who passed away from COVID. You know, we are living in a time where, and then just look at the fact that, you know, 1 in 4, you know, children in this country are sexually abused in their lifetime. We know that this is something that can reverse that damage and at least give people the hope of a better life.
Where can a veteran like myself seek out a practitioner?
You got to go to the rnrproject.org. That's where all the information is right now on those that have been trained across the country. They might be able to set you up with a clinician close to you. The thing that's so incredibly crazy about this protocol, you ready for this? Because I will mess you up when I tell you this.
Ready.
This can be administered virtually.
Oh, that's great.
It can be taught. It can be taught. The clinicians can learn this virtually, and they can turn around and administer it virtually. So there is really, you don't have to seek it out. If they have an opening right now with a few clinicians that have been trained in the United States, and what we're going to have to do is get the funding to be able to train so many more. But we're reaching out. The state of New York is contemplating funding this. We've got the state of California is contemplating funding this. Several states around the country are contemplating funding this. And so, you know, the more fun that comes in, the easier this is going to be to train clinicians, which is going to be easier to make it available to those who need it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Is there anything that we didn't hit on that you want to make sure you get the word out about?
Well, I know a lot of people, a lot of your viewers may be wondering, where's Montel? Well, Montel can be found. I do multiple shows on Lifetime, one of which airs every Thursday morning, Pacific time, 7:30 in the morning, East Coast time, 7:30 in the morning, Central time, 6:30 in the morning. There's a show that's called Military Makeover by Montel, with Montel. And Military Makeover is a show that we literally seek out and we find deserving veterans that we do a home makeover for. We make over the home from the ground up in 10 days. We put you out. 10 days later, we bring you back to a completely refurbished home. And that has been one of my joys. We're working on our 37th family right now, the family that we just finished. And if you tune in tomorrow, Thursday morning on Lifetime, check your local listings, 7:30 in the morning, you'll see that we did a family, Carlos Colon, Army veteran, who was 100% disabled after spending time in Afghanistan, hit by a rocket propelled grenade, suffered unthinkable physical and non-physical or traumas that you can't see. Carlos Colon lost a couple fingers off of one hand, paralyzed the other fingers on that same hand, almost had his arm ripped off, lost the use of one eye, almost made completely deaf. Carlos was our recipient, our 36th recipient. And when he came back, his injury took place in 2008. When he came back, he spent months in the hospital and about a solid 30, 35 days in a medically induced coma, at which time former President G.W. Bush came to his room and literally pinned a Purple Heart on him while he was in a coma. We reached out to President Bush because Carlos is in Arlington, Texas, not too far from the Bush Ranch, and the president agreed to meet with him again. And so if you watch a show on Thursday, you'll see the president actually shaking Carlos's hand and talking to him about, the fact that, man, what was it? Almost 14 years ago, I pinned a Purple Heart on you. And then Carlos was invited to spend some time at the president's ranch doing a bike ride with 20 other veterans, and actually had dinner with the president, former president, and his wife. So amazing episode, amazing that we were able to get President Bush to come on. The family that we're working with right now, another veteran who, though not injured in combat, injured in training leading up to combat, paratrooper, jumped out of an aircraft and, of course, hit the ground wrong and shattered a couple vertebrae in his spine. He is in a constant life of pain right now, but his family is just an incredible group of people, and we shot a little bit of it already. I go back in January to finish the rest of the production of that show, so you can catch that show every Thursday. And then I have two other shows on Lifetime. One's called Military Makeover Operation Career, where we feature companies that hire veterans, and then another show is called The Balancing Act. So anybody who wants to check me out, you can do that easily. Okay.
All
So you're
right.
saying you got a lot of free time, right?
I'm sorry.
I was joking. I said you got a lot of free time. Then I say, in all seriousness, no. If you ever do a home makeover in the Southeast, I'm not very handy, but I can sling a hammer. So give me a holler.
Well, we are in Statesville, North Carolina, and we'll be there from the 13th to the 21st of January. And we love for volunteers to come out and sling a hammer for the Bowen family and Bowman family. And we just go up on our website. We always put where we are at, and that is at
I've got it.
militarymakeover.tv. You can go up there and you'll find all the information about where we're at and what houses we're working on. And we love volunteers because that's how this happens. We rely on the community. The community are the people who come out. They literally swing the hammers, rake the grass. We do everything from, landscaping to floors to walls and ceilings to roofs to new kitchens and refurbish the bathrooms. And we rely on volunteers to help us get that done.
Yeah, and you can go back and read the stories of the families that you've helped over the years. So that's awesome. Militarymakeover.tv.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I can't wait to talk to you again, and I'm excited to get the word out about this program. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for let me chat today. And I hope that our veterans out there know, again, if they want to seek help through RTM, they just go up to randrproject.org. And that's RANDR project.org. All one word.
To look out for those that served, we must be relentless. To influence Washington to do the right thing, not just for our veterans, but for the country, we must be organized. To inspire the next generation of leaders, we must be united. We must be Legion, the American Legion. Join today at legion.org/join.
All right, we're back with a new segment called the Scuttlebutt. And for any of you old timers out there, you know that the Scuttlebutt used to be a place where people would hang out, smoke cigarettes, talk to chat about what's happening in the neighborhood, on the ship, in the unit, and also just catch up on gossip and news. So this segment is going to be just that. Ashley, take it away.
Oh, okay. Did you hear about this? The myth of stress cards. If this is from We Are the Mighty. If basic training gets too hard and you need a timeout, you can just pull out a stress card and the instructor has to stop yelling at you. Yeah, turns out that is a myth. But like all myths, there is a sliver of truth. According to an article written by Blake Stillwell for We Are the Mighty, very real stress control cards were a pocket-sized mood indicator the trainees could use to indicate to their trainer their level of stress from relaxed to most stressed. What do you think, Stacey?
Okay, so this rumor has abounded since I was in the service and probably well before myself. And I remember I'm having this chat with my dad, who was also in the military, and he's like, you guys are just way too soft. So I think there is some validity to what Blake's saying in terms of like, it's for one generation to say they were tougher than the next. Like I walked uphill both ways. Yeah. But I will say, I wish that I could walk around with a stress card t-shirt that literally goes from like, okay, you can chat with me to I really can't people today. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting people know what your limit is. I mean, if I saw somebody with that kind, like your fun meter, if your fun meter's pegged, I would just walk the other direction.
You need like a mood ring. Yeah, so it changes color with how you feel. I feel like if I was given with my personality. If I was given a pocket of stress cards and I was in a stressful situation and it was display them from relaxed to stressed, I would use them to be sarcastic. Just that's it. Which I guess would improve my mood. So they worked. Dang it.
Hey, you didn't, how could you know? But I would say, like, all joking aside, though this has been a trope for a very, very long time, I think it's important to remember that everyone handles stress differently. And of course, like in basic training, you're stressed beyond your natural breaking point to see if you can actually handle it. And so there are some reasons why they're going to take you to the most stressed you can be, and why stress cards maybe were tried and failed, or tried and implemented and somewhat rolled in. But in all seriousness, we want you to be the one to support your brothers and sisters when their fight meter is pegged. And so yeah, we can have fun and we can joke around about it. Let's keep that going. But let's not forget to have a little grace and empathy for each other. And just know that when somebody's reached or surpassed that stress when somebody's reached or past that stress threshold, we got to be there to support them.
Yeah. BeTheOne.org. Check it out. Stacey, I think we have another story. Can you take it for us?
I absolutely can. This one's kind of fun. It's from Legion.org in cooperation with Stars and Stripes. A story about an Iraq war veteran who was dying from stage 4 stomach cancer. And he got his dying wish when the 316th Cavalry Brigade invited him to West Georgia to feel the thunder of the dome. Oh my gosh. That's interesting. For all you tankers out there, you know what this is. According to the Army Times, the former tank took to Reddit to have his final wish. So what he wanted to do was fire the big guns before he made his way from this plane to the next. You have any thoughts on that, Ashley?
He went and fired the thunder of doom.
That's what it is. I have a hard time today.
Absolutely sounds like something my dad would do, but he would not ask. He would just go buy a tank. Just to be like it would be in like a suburb. It would be bad. Yeah, I think it's really cool that they all came together to help him. So it gave him a goal, and I think it's really neat. I'm gonna go check out the video.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, like, during my post-combat trauma recovery, a lot of the doctors were telling me all the stuff that I couldn't do, including riding my horse anymore, and that really got me down.
Yeah.
So I can see how, like, stage 4 cancer would have you feeling in the pits, but to have something to look forward to would really, I think, make those last few days really, really memorable. For me, knowing that I could throw a leg over my horse is what really kept me from spiraling down. So that sliver of hope was everything. And I think I'm sure, and I can't talk for this guy, but having that thunder of doom in your back pocket probably made those last days amazing. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we all have something to live for, a wish, a dream, a hope, and we can all muscle through some of the crappiest things. And whether that ending is coming or we don't know when our ending is near. So living that dream the best you can.
Absolutely. Have a dream. Go for it. Make it happen. Okay. So this we're all yeah. What is your wish? Alphas, do you have a wish? What do you live for? Drop us a line at tangoalphalima@legion.org. Keep it clean. Super producer Holly doesn't want to see some of that. So just keep it clean. Don't email her any filth.
I'll take all the exotic emails. No problem.
Stacey's in. Okay. There we go. I love it. I love this energy. So we're shifting around things on the show a little bit, and we are excited to hear about what you are doing. So the Tango Alpha Lima team loves hearing about the work our members are do to help strengthen our communities. And we wanted to find a way to acknowledge these efforts and inspire others. That's why in season 5, we're kicking off the Tango Mike Awards. Dang it. Yes. Heck yeah. Tango Mike means thanks much. And that's what we want to do. Thank our members who do great things. To enter or submit an entry on behalf of a post, send us an email at tangoalphalima@legion.org with the subject line, Tango Mike Award Submission. Tell us about your project, how it got started, who you are helping, and what kind of impact you've had. If you got pictures, anything like that, send it in. We'll read the best submissions during the show and choose a winner each month from February through November. In December 2025, oh my God, will I 24. I was going to be like, Holly, will I be alive then? In December 2024, the monthly winners will go head to head and our listeners will vote on the Tango Mic champion for a special prize. Oh my God. Guys, this is huge. More to come as the competition continues, but for now, send us your entries. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast. We want you to listen to what we have to say. We want you to read the newsletter, send us mail, and send us guest recommendations at legion.org/Tango Alpha Lima. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I think